If you have chickens, at some point you're going to see one chicken be mean to another chicken. And that is completely normal. But sometimes it goes further than normal and it becomes a real problem. You've got a hen that's getting picked on constantly, or you've got blood, or you've got a chicken that's too scared to eat or drink. So today we're going to talk about bullying in the flock, why it happens, and what you can do about it. Now, before we get into the problem stuff, I think it's really important to understand what is normal and natural in a chicken flock, because some of it looks pretty rough to us, but it's just chickens being chickens. Chickens have a pecking order. Every flock does. And that pecking order needs to be established and it needs to be maintained. So you're going to see some squabbling, some chasing, some pecking here and there, some general shenanigans as they sort themselves out. And that is fine. In my flock, I see it all the time. A bossy hen will hop up onto a perch and another hen who's sitting there will just hop down and move away. And that little interaction, as simple as it is actually really important because it's allowing them to express their dominance hierarchy without any drama. The bossy hen gets to feel like she's won her little battle, and the other hen has just hopped off and gone away, and nobody got hurt. That is normal pecking order stuff, and your chickens need to be able to do that. So when does it cross the line from normal into a problem? What you're watching for is targeted, aggressive pecking at the heads of your chickens. And specifically, if a chicken is being aggressive towards another chicken, and that chicken has gone into a submissive state, she's crouching down or she's trying to get away, and the aggressor keeps going, that is concerning behavior. Watch out for blood. Watch for feather loss on the back, on the head, around the vent area. Watch for a chicken that is being prevented from getting to food and water. Watch for a chicken that is hiding and won't come out. If you're seeing any of that, you need to figure out why it's happening and do something about it. So let's go through the reasons this happens, because once you understand the why, the solutions become pretty obvious. The number one reason is space, or more accurately, how that space is set up. You can have quite a big area for your chickens, but if it's just an empty, open space where every chicken can see every other chicken all the time, you're going to have problems. Chickens need to be able to get away from each other. If a chicken is having an argument with another chicken and she can duck behind something, get on top of something, go behind a bush, go up on a chair, any of those things will just diffuse the situation. Chickens lose attention quite quickly, and if they happen to see something else when they were previously planning to go and beat up their friend, they can often just stop and move on to a different activity. So breaking line of sight is absolutely essential. And I see a lot of people with their chickens in a run that's just a big open rectangle with nothing really in it. And then they're wondering why their chickens are fighting. Put some stuff in there. A planter box, some branches piled up, even just a chair or a board that they can hop up on. It doesn't have to be fancy. You're just trying to create a space where if there's a problem, the chicken being picked on can duck out of the way and hide for a minute and everything calms down. And on top of breaking line of sight, having different levels in your run is super important. Multiple perches at different heights in the coop, outdoor perches or surfaces they can hop up and down from during the day. This gives your chickens a really easy, low-risk way to express their pecking order behavior, which they do need to do. It's a natural chicken need. A bossy hen kicks another hen off the perch. She feels good about herself. The other hen hops down and goes somewhere else. Crisis averted through a very simple interaction. If you don't have situations where they can do that, those interactions can escalate to where your bossy hen is driving another hen into a corner and being really mean to her because the bossy hen is not getting her dominance needs met in simpler ways. Now, the next big one is resources. Food, water, and nest boxes. If you only have one feeding station and one water station, you're creating a situation where a dominant bird can just park herself there and not let anybody else come in. And this is one of the simplest things you can fix. Add more food and water stations and spread them around your space. I have quite a few little feeding spots set up around my yard, so no more than 2 or 3 chickens ever need to share one space at the feeder. And I put them around corners so I'm breaking line of sight between them as well. And I have at least 2 water areas for them, so not so many that only 2 have to share it, but at least 2 so they can go to different locations. The same thing with nest boxes. Your dominant hens might stop the lower pecking order hens from laying in the nest boxes in the coop, or they might even stop them from going into the coop at all. So I set up extra nest boxes at different points around my yard so that my pullets and the lower pecking order hens aren't going to lay under a bush somewhere where I have to go hunting for them. And this is where I just need to say, the smaller the space your chickens have to live in, the harder you have to work to keep them happy, and the more you're increasing your chances of aggression. If you only have a small space, keep your numbers low. Get breeds that are a bit smaller and more docile. Don't try and cram a bunch of chickens into a tiny space, because that is a recipe for bullying. Now, if you have roosters in your flock, the ratio of roosters to hens is really important. For heavy dual-purpose breeds, you want at least 5 hens per rooster. For lighter breeds, 8 to 10 hens per rooster. If you don't have enough hens to go around, your hens are going to have a pretty rough time, and you're going to see a lot of stress and aggression in the flock. And this is one that a lot of people don't talk about enough. If you've raised chicks and you've got cockerels and pullets growing up together, your cockerels are going to reach sexual maturity a lot sooner than your pullets do. And if these are the only chickens you have, that is a very out of balance situation. Those pullets need to be able to grow up without harassment from their hatchmates. So once your chicks are around 8 to 10 weeks old and you can tell who's a girl and who's a boy, you want to separate the sexes. Otherwise, your pullets aren't going to have a great time. All those hormones are going to be raging and it's just going to be chaos. Now, this really doesn't happen in mixed flocks, where you have mature hens keeping the young roosters in line. And if you have a mature rooster, he'll keep them in line even better. But if you've just got a group of same-age chicks growing up together with no adults around, those cockerels can form little thug packs and be quite mean to the pullets. You don't want to let that behavior start. Just separate them and avoid the issues in the first place. Adding new chickens to your flock is another big trigger for bullying. Your established flock are going to see these newcomers as intruders, and some of them are going to make that very clear. The key to making introductions work is time and patience. You want to start with a setup where the chickens can see each other but not touch each other. A bit of portable fencing within the run, a small enclosed area, something so your existing flock can get used to these new arrivals being in their space before they can actually get at them. How long you keep them separate depends on how it's going. Sometimes a couple of hours, sometimes a couple of days, sometimes a couple of weeks. You just have to read the situation. Then when you do let them interact, if you can do it in a bigger space or a neutral area, that's ideal. And a really good strategy is to start letting them out together in the evening, maybe half an hour before bed, because at that time of day, everybody tends to be quite chill. You're limiting the time and you're picking the calmest part of the day. And expect some drama. Some chasing, some pecking, some general chaos is completely normal as they sort out the new pecking order. What you're watching for is that targeted, ongoing aggression that doesn't stop when the other chicken submits. If you see that, step in, separate them again, and let everything calm down. I've done a whole video on integrating new chickens into your flock, so check that out for a deeper dive. Another really important factor that sometimes gets overlooked is boredom. Chickens are highly motivated to scratch, to forage, to dust bathe, to explore. If they can't do those things, they're going to start taking it out on each other. So make sure they have a surface to scratch in where scratching actually gets them something. Throw in some compost material, some leaves, some straw with some treats scattered through it. Give them a dust bathing area. Give them things to explore and interact with. A bored chicken is much more likely to become a bully than a busy one. And I should mention breed compatibility, because not all breeds play nicely with all other breeds. Generally speaking, heavy dual-purpose breeds tend to be quite chill, and lighter breeds tend to be a lot more active and flighty. If you've got a mix, just be aware that temperament clashes can contribute to bullying. And if you have game breed roosters, you need to be very careful, because most game breed roosters have been bred to not back down in a fight, and they will take conflict much, much further than other breeds will. One more thing to keep in mind, bullying can flare up at certain times of the year. When spring hormones start ramping up, you might see more aggression. During a molt, birds that are looking a bit rough and losing feathers can become targets. So just be extra observant during those periods and step in earlier if you're seeing issues. Now, sometimes it's not a flock-wide problem. Sometimes it's just one chicken who is being a total nightmare. If you've identified one specific chicken that's causing all the trouble, you can try removing her from the flock for a few days. Put her somewhere separate where she can see the flock but can't interact with them. When you put her back, she's lost a bit of her status and has to re-establish her position, which often takes the edge off that aggressive behavior. It doesn't always work, but it's worth trying before you make any bigger decisions. So if you're dealing with bullying in your flock, have a think about which of these things might be the cause. Most of the time, it comes back to the space and how it's set up. Resources like food and water, and the composition of your flock. And the good news is that most of these things are fixable with a few changes. Chickens need to be able to express their natural behaviors, and that includes their pecking order. Your job is to set up the environment so they can do that in a way that doesn't escalate into something that's actually hurting someone. And with a bit of thought and observation, most of us can get that sorted.